season has been brought to you by Radisson Red, Johannesburg, Rosebank. Style you can bank on. I'm waiting for the great day, everyone. At Dudley, Durham, North Carolina. It's an amazing day. Even though it's a little overcast here, it's still an amazing day. Why? Because we're still in the land of the living. We're above ground. You're breathing. No matter what else is going on, it's a good day. Miss Charmaine, how you doing over there in South
Yes.
Africa?
Oh, I'm always fabulous, Ed Dudley. It's raining here, spending time with you. I'm going to be chatting to, and I'm not going to go Mr. Peppermint. I'm going to be chatting to an incredible man that's doing great stuff. So what else can I ask for? Just a blessed
So,
woman
so I will
hanging
I will
out.
put this disclaimer out there. When we bring him in, I'm gonna ask him one question. If he gets it wrong, we're ejecting him out the studio, and the interview is completely over. If he's a Dallas Cowboy fan, we're gonna probably have a problem today. Just saying. Charmaine's
Be
like,
kind, Mr.
I
Dudley. Well,
don't
I don't
care.
even care. I
I
just
know.
love people's hearts. And he
I
has a
do.
good one. So the only person leaving the room would be you.
Oh, see, and I see everyone. You heard that. Would you treat your boyfriend like that? You probably wouldn't. You see how she treats me? She abuses me. She takes me for granted.
Abuse is not.
She's unappreciative of the work and the things that I do as her boyfriend here in the States. Granted, we
I
have
love
never
you,
met. We have
Silhouette.
never met face to face.
But we have a great connection, right? I'll
We
never
do.
abuse you. You're
Yeah.
incredible.
So
So
let's
can we
let's
bring this amazing
let's
man
bring.
in?
All right, Mr. Mints, welcome, sir.
Yes.
How you doing?
Hello. You don't look very abused, I must say, though. You don't
So
look
my
abused at all.
so my skin tone hides the bruises.
Mr.
There,
Mints, I
there was a
love
guy.
you.
There was a guy said I bruised. There was a movie. The guy said I bruised on the inside.
I bruise on the inside. Okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me somehow. I'm not sure why, but it makes a lot of sense.
It's fabulous to have you in the Ubuntu house, Mr. Mints.
Thank you.
It's just
Thank you.
incredible. Thank you for making time. It
You're
has
welcome.
a question for you, but don't be afraid to
Okay.
answer because I'm
I
on your
won't be
side.
afraid. I'm not
All
afraid.
right. All right. Okay.
Okay, Ed, go
Are
for it.
are
Let's
you a
see.
Dallas Cowboy fan?
I am actually. Actually, I'm a fan only because my daughter and my grandson are huge Dallas Cowboy fans. So I actually kind of have to pretend to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. They both are just all the way, gray and blue. And it's okay with me, but I'm not really a football fan in general. So
That's
I
see.
figured as much.
I'm just saying. Even though we had a
Oh,
bad couple of years, I'm okay with that. But I was just teasing. I appreciate the Dallas Cowboys, even though their quest to win another championship is futile. But that
Yeah.
I digress. We won't talk about football because Charmaine will sit here and look at us like I don't want to talk about football. Even though football, that what we call football over here, I don't know what they call it, but over there it's called football, but we call it soccer.
Yeah.
So anyway,
whatever.
Charmaine,
Let's go to the
what up?
real deal. Mr. Mint,
Yes.
you know I love you, right? I've confessed
Yes.
this so many times to you.
Yes.
I love your heart. I love what you do. But let's
Thank
start
you.
by telling people who you are and how you make a difference in this world. Let's go with that.
Oh, I love the way you did that question because that is my goal in life, to change people's lives. I live to change people's lives. My day job is I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing for a company called Grand Homes. We're the largest luxury home builder in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And we help people by helping them make what is typically the most expensive purchase in their life. I have somewhere between 40 and 50 salespeople that work for me all the time, 5 sales managers. And my goal as their boss is to make them successful, and that's what I do for a living. I help make sure that people are and become successful and not just in their career and their finances, but I want to leave people better than I found them. So if you come to me, first thing I want to know is, what are your goals? Where are you going? What are you trying to accomplish? And I want to be a part of that. I want to help people reach that. So, I want to help people be successful holistically. That quest at work kind of led into the ability for me to coach other people outside of work. So I spend some time doing that as well, among some other things that I'm always trying to improve people's lives. So
Oh, that's magical. We need more of you in the world, actually.
thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm a little curious,
Yes.
because I look and it says you're a success coach.
Hmm.
I don't know if I've ran into a success coach, but I'd love to know a little bit more about that and then how you actually got into that.
I would say that it started with mentoring men. 20, a little over 20 years ago, I hit probably what was the worst year of my life. I was 40. I was angry. I was frustrated, was unsuccessful. And of course, I came in contact accidentally with what was a great coach at the time. And she actually was the daughter of Milton Erickson. Milton Erickson and Eric Bandler created NLP. So she was perfect for me, helped me understand that, Mike, you can't love someone else, you can't love other people, you can't love your wife, your family, because you don't know how to love yourself. Which, yeah, that was a true statement. I actually loathed myself. So we went on this quest of me learning how to love Mike Mints. And then as my grandmother would say, I learned, she used to tell me all the time, Mike, you can't dip water from an empty well. And so I was living my life on empty all the time in every area of my life. And so there was nothing for me to give away. So that transformation, my marriage was at an all time low. We were able to turn it around. A lot of people thought it was completely over. We basically reached down into the ashes and pulled it out, and have enjoyed the last 20 plus years of the most amazing years of both of our lives together. So I started getting these men coming up to me after church saying, my wife told me I had to talk to you. And they had probably, their wives had probably talked to mine. And, she explained how we were able to turn our lives around. So it started just me sitting across across the breakfast table, um, with coffee, explaining to men how to put their marriage back together. And really, I always ask the same question, Ed. After I would listen to them talk, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, and they were trying to explain to me that the reason they're not being successful in marriage and in life is because they're married to a bitch. And I would say, well, let me ask you a question. Tell me what your plan is for your life. And they go, what? I go, well, no, tell me what is your plan for your life, or for your finances, or for your marriage, or for your career? And they would have nothing. And I say, listen, brother, I said, if I was your wife, I'd be scared to death, and I'd be acting the way you think she's acting.
Mm,
And so we come up with a plan for them to put their career back together, a plan to put their marriage back together, a plan to put their family back together. And that mentoring over the course of about 10 years, I did that for about 10 years. There were 2 years where I was meeting someone every day. And I just kind of naturally stepped over into coaching, and have been doing that ever since. So
wow, that is great. You actually spoke my language when you talked about mentoring men. I actually have a men's group that we help mentor and talk and coach and
mhm.
just really share. It's really a group of support for men. And then you hear a lot of these stories about what
Yeah,
the men are going through, dealing with. We all go through the exact same thing. We just go
right,
through it differently.
right.
That's all.
Well, and the biggest mistake men made is they isolate themselves. You know,
Completely.
and the
And
worst
we
place
don't
you can
talk.
be as a man is isolated away from everything else. And now you begin to think that everything you're thinking is right and it's true. And when you get with another bunch of other men, they go, "Oh no, no, that's no, you're way off. Sit down here, let's talk. We share a lot of the same problems. Let us share our stuff." And so, yeah, it's really good for men to be in groups of other men.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That is
Go
so
ahead.
powerful, actually. I
Thank
mean,
you.
using your experience to make an impact in the lives of others. I knew you two was going to fall in love, actually. I mean, I'm all about love and peace, right? Because you're on a similar journey, making a difference to
Mhm.
the lives of men, but humanity as a whole. He's not just a men's support. You'll learn more just now, Ed. Just chill. Mr. Mint is like, he's got great energy. I was drawn to his energy and his positive perspective to life. And your
Thank
share,
you.
Mr. Mint, was, I was quite taken aback though, because I didn't realize your journey and how you got there. But it's through adversity we tend to find who we are and how we want to give back. And
Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you for sharing. Actually,
Yes, thank you.
it's clear to me you are surrounded by phenomenal women, right? Your beautiful wife, four
Well,
daughters,
not just one,
grandson.
but yes, I have an amazing wife, and I'll tell you what makes her so amazing. Kind of after we put our lives back together, she told me that because I had walked out on, she was pregnant at the time. My wife became pregnant 18 years after our third one, so it was very much a late life baby. She was 46 at the time, and that December out while she was pregnant, three daughters, which said everything about who I was. And the truth was, I was an asshole. In fact, she likes to refer to the fact that I'm now a recovering alcoholic, and it really is mostly true, you know. But I will tell you that what my wife was praying at the time when I had left is that, God, I want you to put my marriage back together with Michael. But if you're not able to, if he's not willing to, I know that you have something better and greater for me. So she continued to pray that, and thank goodness that greater and better for her was me.
Aw,
And it just kind of put us in a place because she was unwilling to question me. Are you willing to work? I said, yes. And it was, it was some work. We both had to learn and grow and become and change, become different people. I find the biggest thing that keeps people from growing forward is this belief that I should never have to change. I shouldn't have to
mm,
change. Well, the truth is, you're never going to experience any growth in life, any success in life, regardless of what area of life that is, without you completely changing. Now, my goal every year is to look back at who I was at the beginning of that year and not even be able to recognize who I was.
Mm.
Because if you can't, that means, oh my gosh, some serious growth occurred. But I know men, I'm sure you do. You know people, women and men who they look exactly, sound exactly, and act exactly the same as they were in high school. They haven't changed at all. And I know right away they're stuck. They're broke. It's not growing. So I love change. I love change.
you
You
can
you
tell you love change.
I do.
you
Sorry,
you
Ed.
know it is interesting that you talked about individuals that are stuck,
Mhm.
the same people that they were in high school, because I've always laughed, and I laughed and I was a little sad for the individuals who the highlights of their life were high school,
Right.
and they're stuck there. And
Mhm.
as a success coach, I mean, how do you get people to recognize first? Because you got to recognize you're stuck first before
Yes.
you actually make any type of change. So, what are you saying or talking to people about to potentially look in the mirror and say, I'm stuck, and
Mhm.
now what I need to do to get out of this?
Well, I actually don't, Ed, start with the fact that they're stuck. I know they're stuck. And probably the people around them know they're stuck. They don't necessarily know at that moment that they're stuck. So I start with questions like, what do you want? My grandmother used to tell me that the reason that our prayers go unanswered because we go to God and we have no idea what we want. We say, God bless
That's
me. And
so
he goes,
true.
well, how? How do you want me to bless you? And we have no idea. We say, just bless me. Well, he says, like, you don't have to tell me what you want. So until I can get a man or a woman, either one, I'm now coaching as many women as I do men. Until you decide what it is you want, where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? What do you want to accomplish? There's no way a father or our father can help you accomplish those things until you finally sit down and decide. So we start with the dream list, and I call it a vomit list. I say, look, everything you've ever wanted to be, wanted to become, wanted to have, I want you to vomit it out on a piece of paper. And sometimes it can be 2 pages, 4 pages, 10 pages of dream stuff. And then we start a pretty long process of filtering through all of that down to what it is they really want, because then they have to answer why. Why do you want those things?
Mm.
Um, and so when we're done, what we wind up with is a vision for their life, or a future. I call it a future. Look forward to. And then from there, we back up and create some powerful goals to help them get there. And then after that, we create a morning routine. And then after that, we create daily priorities, which is where I find that most people really lose the power of setting goals and creating goals and accomplishing goals for their life. Because we set goals and we actually will take a few steps, but it may only be 1 or 2 steps a month, maybe 1 or 2 steps a quarter that we actually did focus purely on our goals. But I show people how you can have daily priorities, 3 priorities, and those 3 things specifically are moving you forward daily towards your goals. Not your to-do list, not your schedule for the day, 3 priorities. And they talk about, if you have goals and they're written down, you have a date, you're in the 1% of the population. Well, if you have daily priorities, you're in the 1% of the 1%. People tell me, I want to do this in 5 years. When I show them how to use all this and start to use daily priorities, they accomplish it in 2. Because none of us are that focused on accomplishing our goals when we're doing something every day towards our goals. So obviously I love what I do.
I can tell.
You can tell. You can
Yeah.
tell, and your process is very clear as to you have to be, you have to have a goal and take the action and
Mhm.
prioritize it, and that's the only way you
Yes.
achieve it. You've
Yeah.
had clearly a lot of success though, because I mean, through your share, you've indicated some people want to achieve it in 5, and you've actually helped them achieve it in 2 years.
Yes.
How does that make you feel, and how does it make them feel?
Well, amazing. I will tell you that my newest son-in-law, I mentored him for 2 years. I didn't know at the time I started mentoring him he was going to be my new son-in-law. But and I've mentored, my daughter for many years. They finished college in 3 years because they used this process. They wanted to get finished. They wanted to get married. They're getting married on May 27th. I said, not till we finish school. And oh man, they created some plans. Bam, bam, bam. They're done in 3 years, and now we're getting married on May 27th. So
Oh, that's
Wow.
fabulous! Congratulations to them, and yeah,
thank you.
clearly
Yeah.
you do
And
have a
what's so
positive.
cool, Charmaine? What's so cool is that this process works in every area of your life, whether it's finances, career, relationships, right? Any health, the process works exactly the same. I'm not a process person. I'm a very right brain person. It's very difficult for me to do left brain things. Okay. I know people who are both can be both. That's not me. Okay. I'm very right brained. But this formula for success that I was showed at 41 years old made so much sense to me. I go, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. It transformed my life. And so that's why I'm so excited to share it with people. People ask me, what do you charge? I say, I say, I care less about what I charge and more about, do you really want to do this? I have people that pay half. Have people that pay a third. I've had people that pay none. I have people that pay more than what I typically charge. Because for me, it's about changing people's. And the reason I'm so excited to change people's lives is because my life was changed. And
Yeah.
I feel like that God put my marriage back together, put my life back together, put my finances back together. I was able this past year to make the most money and had the best year of my entire life at 65 years old. So I have absolutely nothing to complain about. What my life is amazing because I personally feel like because I'm following the purpose that God put me on this earth for. And that was to change people's lives as far as their success in life.
Given and shall be given unto you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you speaking my language, and I
Well,
love your philosophy.
my dad
Absolutely
was a
love it.
pastor. Yeah, my dad was a minister. My youngest brother's a minister. My wife's brother's a minister. I'm the black sheep, actually. So,
Oh,
but
it is the black sheep, and he's a minister. I knew I was just gonna have some fun with you guys.
He has the aura of a minister. He does.
He is.
He has the aura of a minister. Yeah, it speaks
Oh,
out all over him. Just so
oh
you
my
know.
goodness, that is hilarious. Yeah, I come. My grandfather was a longtime pastor. I helped build churches, uncles,
Mhm,
cousins. I tried to run away from it.
mhm.
Literally, I was like, no, I don't want none of this. I want
Oh,
no part. And
mm,
I got humbled. And I haven't told everybody the story. I got humbled on a business trip in New York City.
mhm,
We were traveling. A group of us was traveling. A lot of them haven't been to New York City.
mhm.
I've been to New York City plenty of times, and I was like,
Yeah.
so they wanted to go out and hang out. They wanted to go on a dirty subway and do all that stuff. I'm like, I'm going back to my room, and I
Mhm.
went back to my room and started watching TV. Went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I was awakened. Next thing I know, I'm on my knees,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And that was the beginning of a transformation in my life. And it's been for the better.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
Something similar, yeah. I left my wife. I was at my own little apartment, and the only furniture I had in it was a bed. And I wound up on my knees on the floor. God, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I got here. Thank goodness, that God is the reviver of all things broken. He is the reviver of all things broken. Um, I've seen, because of my own story, there's no reason other than my relationship with Christ and my wife's amazing relationship with Christ. There's no reason that our marriage should have survived. Because I gave her every reason, Charmaine, not to want to continue to be married. Um, but it's crazy. It's crazy when, like, my wife has this amazing belief that God, well, I do as well now, but then she had this amazing belief that God can restore anything. I did not have that belief at the time. I'd seen people treat my father as a pastor ridiculously badly in the church. And so, you as a pastor's kid, you grow up with this disdain for the
Yeah,
church,
everything.
for all things, and so there wasn't anything about the church or God that I really needed at all. It was not something I needed in my life because I'll take care of myself. And what happens? It took me 40 years to wind up flat on my back where there was nothing else I could do to help myself. And all I could do was reach up and reach out and say, okay, I want this to happen. I don't know how, but I'm trusting you to make it happen. So
That's
pretty simple,
beautiful.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Had no idea the conversation was going to go here.
Mm,
That's why I love
yeah.
our conversations, though. We bring like the
Yeah.
right energies, and they just like share their stories, and it will impact so many people, though. The
Yes.
ability to change, no matter how old you are, the
Mm,
attitude, the willingness to make a difference. Because often we go, "Oh, I'm too old. I can't change." No, it's not going to make a difference. But just
yes.
changing your perceptions and your belief system
Yes.
will make a
I,
powerful difference.
I've seen it, and I tell the story I tell is about my father. My father and my mother religious was going to church religiously. My
Yeah.
father growing up, two times he stepped foot in the church. One time I was about 7. I remember
Mm-hmm.
exactly what he had on. The other time when him and my mom were going through some issues. And my mom tells the story. She's like, when you were 7, he came because we were doing some kind of couple thing. And I threatened him that if he did not show up, he was going to have a problem. And so he showed up. But I look at his life now and where it was when we were growing up. When we said grace and prayer for the food that we were about to eat, it was always one of the kids. My mom taught us all kids how to, or it was her. It was never him.
Right.
Just never went. And then and I'll never forget, we were going to pick up my younger sister from college, and I had a Christian radio station on a CD, and
Mm-hmm.
the song that was coming on, I did not want to hear. I fast forward. My dad was like, whoa, wait, put that back. And I'm looking at him like he's crazy. I'm like, what do you mean put it back? I'm like, he's like, I love that song. I'm like, what do you mean you love this song? I've never heard you listen to gospel music in your life. He listens to jazz, and he said, I love that song. And the song was like, I never thought that I'd get to know you this well, talking
Wow.
about Christ. And that was the first time that we had, and I was in my 30s, first time we had a conversation about his faith. He's like, I read every day. Fast forward now, this is a man that used to go out every Friday night to his favorite club, his
Mm-hmm.
bar. every Friday night, like clockwork. You set your watch by it.
Mm-hmm.
Drink, smoke. Quit both of them cold turkey. To the point I moved here to North Carolina and walk into the house, and the man's sitting on the deck or on his couch reading his Bible,
Mm-hmm.
busy and active in church. And I'm sitting here. You never know what's going to happen in somebody's life that they're going to change.
Right.
You never ever give up on anyone. As long as they still have breath in their body, you never ever give up on anyone, because you
Right.
just never know what will change in their life for the better. And I'm
Right.
so proud of who he is right now and what
That's
I
fantastic.
beam with pride because I sit there and look at, because I remember where he was and I see where he is right now.
Mm.
Well, I've been with pride for both of you, actually, what you've been through and how you shine and impacting lives. So,
Yeah,
yeah, just my so much love and gratitude to both of you and for your
yeah.
story share. So, Mr. Mint,
Yes.
I like the way he goes, yes. Besides impacting lives in the US, you
Mm.
also have a special story to share with us and another love besides your
I
wife,
did.
your 4 daughters in the US.
Right.
Unpack that a little bit for us and how and why it
I
is
love
that you
that
do what you
statement.
do.
Unpack that. I use that all the time, by the way. Unpack that for us. Um, I in 2015. So one of my closest friends is a missionary. I went to Hardin Simmons University. It's a Baptist school. And one of my closest friends is a missionary to Nepal. And when the earthquake hit in 2015, he calls me. Well, first, I have to tell you this part. So the earthquake hits. My wife calls me. Did you hear about the earthquake in Nepal? And I go, no. Of course, it was pretty disastrous. She says, have you talked to Norbert? That's his nickname. His name's Stephen Lee, but we call him Norbert. She says, have you talked to Norbert? And I go, no. She says, well, you need to try to get a hold of him. So I'm calling. I'm calling his son. Have you heard from me? No, no, no. So I get home that night and my wife says, well, you need to get on a plane and go find it. I go, what you think I'm just going to go there and start turning over rocks? And I'm going to, Norbert. And I said, that's not a good plan. She says, no, you need to go. So thank goodness the next morning he calls me and says, hey, there are some horrific needs here. I need you to grab some money and I need you to come tomorrow. I said, okay. He says, well, there's one hiccup. He says, you can only bring in 5,000 and declare it. The rest of the money you're going to have to put in your underwear. I go, what? Yeah. So I have $5,000 I declare, and I have $5,000 that's stuck in my drawers.
Wait a
And I'm
minute,
like, I'm
wait a
about to
minute,
go
wait a
to
minute.
jail because I have
Did
money
you
in my
use tape?
underwear.
Did you use tape?
No. I waited till just before I got there to stick it in there. So I hate to tell that part, but so I get there, and one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my life, Charmaine and Ed, is buying blankets and tarps and rice and water and a couple of other things on the black market. Never had that privilege before. You have all these stories you hear in movies, and say, of course, it was nothing like you see in the movies, but it was a little intense though. So we buy all this stuff and we're taking it and we're dispersing it at this little school that had been damaged as well in this little village called Godhunga. I meet the owners of the school, which it had been badly damaged. Their name, Amit Indrani Singh. He's Nepali, she's Indian. Amazing people. And half the kids that they're teaching for free, and surviving on the money that the other kids are paying. And I fall in love with him, and we start talking, and they don't know what they're going to do for a school. So we start the balls rolling. We go in and visit there's an engineering school in downtown Kathmandu. We go talk to the professor there. They had actually already started working on some temporary shelter plans that were really cheap to build. We borrowed that plan. We go back. I call a bunch of people here in the United States. Long story short, we wind up building 10 portable buildings for $800 a piece, which is what they then use for the next almost 3 years to have school in. I then take my daughter back the next year and the next year. Those trips changed her life forever. When I mean that, and when I say that, I don't say that lightly. I mean it absolutely changed her life forever. I'll tell you, one of the trips that we went, she was bullied very badly in the 7th and 8th grade, very badly, by girls. We go there at the end of her, it was during her 8th grade year. We go there and she's supposed to teach kindergarten while they're there on this trip. And the kids her age actually convinced Amit, the schoolmaster, can she just come go with us and hang out with us? Because kids are kids, they have iPhones, and they have everything they have here. And so she winds up spending the entire day with those kids. We go back to the hotel that night. I take a shower. I come out and she's sitting on the floor, absolutely sobbing. And I go, her name is Addison. I go, Addison, what's the problem? She says, Dad, there's something wrong that I have to fly halfway around the world to find kids who accept me for who I am. So I said, well, isn't that strange that you found acceptance from kids who have little to nothing? Little to nothing. In fact, the most expensive thing these kids own are their uniforms they wear to school. So it transformed, her life. I could tell you other stories that have revolutionized who she is and why she's doing what she's doing, and that she's going to change girls' lives. She's going to be she got her degree in sports management. This summer, she's coaching at this upstate New York ritzy camp. She's going to be the head volleyball coach there this summer. She played volleyball in college.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes. But the whole purpose of the volleyball career is to change young girls' lives. That's the purpose. It's an opportunity and a mission field, to change girls' lives forever, the way the way hers was changed. So anyway, so now they've built a new school. They're finally in their new school. And I'm very, very, since I even talked to you last, I was supposed to go in March. I was in the hospital last week. That's a whole nother story. We can talk about that later if you want. But I had to cancel my trip in March. But God has a way of making everything work to his good. So now I'm not going till August. But when we go in August, we're gonna trek by Jeep up into the mountains, and then the last 5 miles we have to walk. But we're going to start a satellite school in a little village, can't tell you the name, up in the mountains. And this area, this region, is the most highly sex trafficked area in Nepal. Just so you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but Nepal is per capita the #1 sex trafficked nation in the world. So that the thought of being able to create a satellite school in that region and changing kids' lives forever is monumental. It's monumental. So we're very excited about getting to do that.
We had Matt Friedman, who's a sex trafficking specialist, and he spent a lot of time in Nepal, and he shared that with us. Actually, we must connect you with him.
Yeah, he's over in Hong Kong.
He's over in Hong Kong now. You're phenomenal. I'm gonna stop praising you so much.
So real quick, I'm just curious, what position did your daughter play volleyball?
She was a setter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she had good hands. So I had 2 girls that played volleyball. One played in college as well. So you're a volleyball dad?
I am. My oldest granddaughter, she's just started playing club. She's 11. Her daddy is 6'7".
Oh.
So she's going to be a beast. She's going to be a beast. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm really excited about that. Yeah. My daughter actually transitioned to going into high school. I mean, going into college. She had never played beach before, transitioned, and now she'll be wrapping up her beach career. They start at the end of February, her last season.
So the question that I have for you is to make sure that you're really a volleyball dad. You already know. Did you take one to the head?
I have not had one to the head. My wife has. But I will tell you how you can know I'm a volleyball dad. I've received 4 yellow cards and 1 red card. As a parent.
I can relate, but more from a soccer perspective.
I was close. I never got carded. Never got carded.
I've been carded. 4 yellow cards, 1 red. My daughter said, Dad,
she was completely embarrassed. completely embarrassed.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
that
was
bad.
getting
No.
so bad on the sidelines. The coach for my daughter's team said, "Look, why just come over here, go get credentialed so we can have you a coach." Because I'm on the sideline telling the girls, I'm like, "Oh, because the ball's coming here. No, hit it." I'm doing like this. I'm telling them where to set it,
Mm.
and the coach is looking at me like, "Do you want to coach?" Like,
Do you want to coach? I have to tell you this volleyball story, Ed. So I have 4 girls, right? And my older 3 are rough tough. That's what we call it in our house. You know, they're very strong minded. They're very opinionated, a lot like their father, unfortunately. My youngest daughter was a lot like my wife. She, you know, she was a little more tenderhearted, a little more, you know, I had to be much careful how I talked to her, how I disciplined her. We're on our way back from a volleyball tournament, actually one weekend, and I see her over there. I can see she's contemplating, and she looks over at me. She says, "Dad, I need to tell you something." I said, "Okay." She said, "But I don't think you're gonna like it." I said, "Oh, okay, okay, that sounds good." She says, "Dad, I don't need another coach. What I need is a cheerleader."
oh,
Mm. And that changed our relationship together
yeah,
forever.
that's
You know,
beautiful.
I only knew how to coach. I was not a great cheerleader. That was, let's see, how long ago? That was 8 years ago. And so since then, I've really worked hard on becoming, not just for her, not just for my grandkids, but for the people that are you know, that are surrounded by me. I want to be the greatest cheerleader in the world. You know, because you know, as a coach, as someone who coaches and you're teaching, you're training, you know, you get caught up in telling,
Mm.
and you forget to stop and you forget to stop and cheer. You know, and I find in life that more people need to be cheered than they do need to be coached.
Mm,
Mm. So
that's so true.
yeah,
That is
Such
so true. I like that.
such a powerful share though. And as I sit here and reflect on the stories that you've actually shared, you have a very your family, and I think they take this. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to assume. Your
hmm,
daughter was bullied by women, and she realized that she needs to change the narrative, and now she does volleyball to be able to change the lives of women and make them better
yes,
human beings. And
yes,
through your story, you've demonstrated and illustrated the same thing. And the
uh,
lesson to most people out there is don't go hating, be different, change
yes,
the narrative. And it's
yes,
so powerful that we do. Um, I mean, go to Nepal to get accepted, and they have so little. You don't need a lot actually to be able to give love
no,
and kindness. And
no,
your daughter to break down and be appreciated. And oh, it's like every little thing that happens in our lives could either make us a gift to the world or
hmm,
a pain to the world. And that's in all in our doing. So I love
yes.
the work that you do. I love the stories that you're sharing. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Um, So talking about, so you're going in August, and are you
Yes, ma'am.
excited? You should be.
I
Don't call me ma'am. It sounds rude.
Oh, that's Texas. I'm sorry. That's
I
so
know. I know. I
Charmaine.
had
That's how
another
we're raised
Texan.
in Texas.
I had another Texan that called me ma'am. It's in South Africa. It's like it's only the yeah. Let me
I
not even
know
tell
it's a
you the
little
context.
derogatory. Yes, I've been told that in other parts of the world. Because I've traveled
It's
a bit, and
conditioning,
yes,
Charmaine. Since a little kid in the South, yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
yes,
That's conditioning.
it's
Uh,
it's just short
You
of
need to
beaten into you.
unlearn. You
oh
need
yeah,
to
it's definitely.
unlearn it.
Oh no, it's not short of beating. It's beating into you. Don't you dare! You just say yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Oh yeah.
That's a true statement from birth.
It's like and as I'm a reflector. It's like I'm a bit like you. I always check how I've behaved yesterday. Am I a better human being? So I was just
Hmm.
telling Ed earlier on, we had an individual born the same day as you, 12th of, 12th of July, also pushing the education agenda because he
Hmm.
sees that's where the best impact would be made. So
Hmm.
there's so many. Oh man, this has been a phenomenal day actually, being
Yeah.
around this incredible people driving meaningful change. Mr. Mints, I know it's
Yeah.
Mints, but I love Mints. So tell us another story. Tell us something else. Tell us. Okay, let me make it easier to you.
Okay.
Why is it that you have this live show every Wednesday on LinkedIn? What is the
Why do
mission
I have
behind
a
that?
live show?
Yeah.
Same purpose. Um, you know, I learned very quickly that on LinkedIn that if your video is longer than about a minute, it doesn't get viewed very much.
Okay.
So, there's only so much you can do on a video on LinkedIn or really any other social media platform. And so I wanted an opportunity to be able to talk a little bit more in length about things that I believe are important. My show is called My Success in Life, and everything we talk about is becoming and being successful, in life. I share stories. I share who I am. I try to be incredibly open about where I've been and what I've accomplished, the mistakes that I've made. I think I get a little frustrated sometimes when I see people in a position to change people's lives, but they walk right up to the door of being open, honest, authentic, and vulnerable, and then they stop. And I think one of the greatest tragedies we've done to leadership in the world, whether you're talking about a parent, a boss, a husband, whatever role of leadership you're playing, a wife, a mother, that we want to appear as if we have it all together. We want to
Yeah.
appear as if we're strong and we know exactly what to do, when to do it, and nothing is ever the case. That's never the case. And I think we've done our children and our employees and the people that we lead, we've done them a huge misservice by not being open, honest, and vulnerable about the fact that, I'm incredibly flawed. In fact, I'm one of the most flawed people I know. And I'm very, very quick and very, very honest and open to share those stories. I'll share my story about my marriage way quicker than my wife really wants me to. Okay. Because I believe it's important for people to know, oh, oh my gosh, I would have never thought that about you and Debbie. Y'all look like you have it all together. Well, thank goodness I get to enjoy an amazing marriage today, but it certainly didn't start out that way 20 years ago. So I think all of us in leadership, all of us with a voice have to be very, very conscious and very, very purposeful and intentional about saying, I'm broken. I'm broken. I'll always be broken. And only because of the fact that I am broken, am I able to be much better, much more than that. So I don't
So
pretend to be
important.
anything other than broken.
Mike.
Well, you was broken. You're no longer broken. You just like sticking the pieces together and you're flowing, right?
Right. But
Come on.
in Japan, one of the things I love, that when things are broken, they take those pieces and they put them back together, but they put them back together with gold.
Go.
And so you see the cracks, but the cracks are gold, which to me says what makes us who we are, what makes us valuable as human being is our brokenness, are the cracks.
Absolutely.
It's the scars, right? Okay, my grandmother used to say that God fills us with light, but the only way the light can escape is through our scars. Okay. And so a lot of times we want to hide the scars and we don't want anybody to see that, oh, I'm broken. I got scars all over me. But when we do, that's how the light escapes out and gets onto everyone around us. So I revel in the fact that I'm scarred. I revel in the fact that I'm broken and God uses me anyway.
Ah, that is such a powerful share, actually. I'll just share very quickly. For the longest time, vulnerability was not my strength.
Right.
I hid all my pain until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So there's power in what you've actually said, and you have more impact sharing your story rather than pretending to be, I'm strong, powerful, and capable. So that's why I love you so much. There was a reason for this
Yeah,
connection.
it's good. I'm, Mike, I got a question,
Yeah.
I already know the answer, but
Okay.
have you and your wife have people
It's Debbie.
question
Debbie.
have okay, Debbie, have you and
Yes.
Debbie been propositioned to basically do marriage boot camps or trainings and things like that about marriage?
Yes. Um, but My wife is an incredible behind the scenes person, and she always has been in our lives, in our marriage. She still is. And so even though if she felt like it was purposeful, she has shared before, because the truth is, the few times that I've heard her share, it's amazingly transforming. But no, that's not something that's on her radar. She would come go with me, and she would, she would sit right there and beam, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, she is just as proud about the changes that she's made in her own life as I am about the changes I've made in mine. Look, she will tell you, because I tell people, look, I was the reason our life was broken, and she will tell you, no, nothing could be further from the truth. She had to go through major changes as well. The lady we were seeing, Betty Erickson, she was seeing her one day of the week. I was seeing her one day a week, and then we were seeing her together. Little did we know, like, for instance, Betty taught us to do this exercise. When I walked in from the garage door, when I came home at night, I walked in the garage door, I would reach down to my ankles and I would grab this emotion. And I'll tell you where the emotion comes from. She said, Mike, I want you to pick the most influential person in your life. Who would that be? And I said, my grandmother. And she said, how long has it been since you saw your grandmother? I said, 10 years at that time, 10 years. She said, I want you to imagine that your grandmother's about to walk through that door right there, and you haven't seen her in 10 years. I want to know, what look would you have on your face when she walked through that door? And I go, ooh, it's even today, it's still very emotional because she's so important to my life. She says, so I want you to reach down, and I want you to grab that emotion in your ankles, and I want you to pull that emotion all the way up through your legs, up through your torso, and I want you to force that emotion out your face. When you walk in the door, that's the face I want you to give your wife. Now, here's what's crazy. At the same time, I did not know, she did not know, she was telling my wife to do the same thing when I walked in the door. So here's two people now that are working to make sure that when they see each other at the end of the day for the first time, you're the most important person in my life. It was transformational.
Thank you for sharing. There's my big hug for you. You're so incredible. I just love you to the moon and back. And you and Debbie are just lucky to have each other. And thank you for sharing. Yes. It's such a simple practice that whoever's going through a hard time, whichever couple, just utilize it in their lives to be able to better and make progress. Your share today, Mr. Mints, my favorite boyfriend, and Ed's going to kill me, is going to impact
I'm not going to kill
so
you
many
on.
lives.
I'm not on this one. I'm good, because that story just right there, it hit me in so many levels. Like, I'm literally texting my wife right now that you are the most important person in my life. Like, right now, I literally just text her that. And one of the most
funny, Ed, that
influential.
you say that. I spent my whole life trying to be and feel successful. 40 years of my life, I wanted to feel successful because I felt everything but that.
Oh.
My father left me with the feeling that I was inadequate. And so I desperately wanted to feel successful. So, everything I did was about having the nice house, having the nice car, having the best job, making a lot of money. And that the most successful I've ever felt in my life is when my wife texted me, "You're the most amazing man I've ever known."
Oh, wow.
That was the feeling.
And that's all we need.
That's the success I've been looking for my entire life. My entire life. And little did I know that it was just that confirmation from my wife. Success is not a thing. It's not a thing. It's how we want to feel, right? I'll tell you, I don't know how much time you have, but I want to tell you just one more.
Go ahead.
My father, it's really strange that I tell you this story, because my father, being a pastor, you would not have believed that this would have been true. But bless his heart, he had a father who was incredibly difficult. And my grandfather was actually my surrogate father every summer from the time I was 8 till I went to college. Realized that my dad never was saying the words "I love you, Mike, I love you." Never ever had I heard the words him say "I love you." So I have him and my mom over. This is after I've started meeting with the counselor. I invite my dad over, and we're sitting on my back porch, and I'm cooking some steaks. And my dad, bless his heart, he's both very, very incredibly hard and very, very soft at the same time. I call him a coconut because he's so hard on the outside, but he's so soft on the
Amazing.
inside. And I looked over him and I said, Dad, I really have to ask you a question. I said, why is it that I'm a little over 40 years old, Dad, and you've never uttered the words to me, Mike, I love you? How can that be true, Dad? You were a pastor. You cared for people. But why is it you never were able to say to me, Mike, I love you? His head falls down, tears are falling from his eyes, and here's what he said. Here was his response. It's so amazing, his response. He said, because I was afraid if I said it to you, you wouldn't say it back to me. So we agreed that day. Every time we see each other, Dad, every time we see each other from now on, every time we see each other from now on, we're going to kiss each other on the cheek. We're going to whisper in my ear, Dad, I love you. And we did every time we saw each other until the day he died. Our relationship began to change there and changed very quickly in the last 7 years of his life, were the greatest 7 years I got to enjoy of my father's life. So
Oh, that's
Mike.
such a beautiful share, and what a blessing, though. I mean, you were able to change the narrative and share the fact that the last 7 years was the best. Some people never have the opportunity, and I
right.
hope they take in your share to be able to change the
Thank you.
narrative because we all can. Thank you for
Right.
sharing. I
That
tell you,
was,
I love
wait
you.
a
You
minute,
know
hold,
that.
yeah, Charmaine loves, she loves.
Thank you.
She's just a loving being.
Thank
But
you.
Mike, I thank you for sharing that. It's one of the things that as men we don't say enough to other men.
Right.
In our society, it was taboo that you tell another man you love it. I remember
Right.
when my dad first I can remember him saying that I love you. We were talking on the phone and we're about to end. He
Mm,
said, "I love you, son." And I literally looked at the phone because I don't remember him actually saying it. And we say it all the time now. But I have a friend that was on our show, Jay Dwayne, that runs an organization all about love.
mm,
And he would always, and it was weird for me because he always would say, "All right, I love you, bro. I love you." And at first time he said it to me, I looked at him like, hmm. And I was like, okay. But he conditioned me like, it's okay to tell another man that you love him.
absolutely.
Like our men's group, we got guys, and I mean, of all ages sitting there, "I love you. I love you."
Mm,
And it's a beautiful thing when men can actually open up and tell
mhm.
another man, "I love you." That's
It's beautiful.
powerful.
Well, because men only understand respect.
Hmm.
You know, we only understand respect. And but the problem with respect is it does not fill in the love void, right? We live honor, respect. We understand that. We know how to manage that. We know how to live in those circles of respect. I respect you. You respect me. Okay. But I actually was a part of a men's group. We created one called Iron Men, and you had to say, I love you. And it was so difficult. It's so fun to watch new guys to the group and say, "Hey, I love you," and "I love you," and and you had to embrace. And we had guys come in, "No, I don't hug other men." I said, "Well, you're gonna find this hard. That's all we do here. We hug each other and we say, I love you, you know, because it's the greatest need that men have in their lives. It's the greatest need men have in their lives is to have another man care about them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. Um,
I didn't. I mean, I grew up in the family where my mom is a bit. She's not very affectionate. Her mom died when she was 3 months old, but my dad is pretty affectionate. She shows affection
Yeah.
in a different way. So
Yeah.
I think it's not just men who need it. Like love is everybody needs it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm
True.
saying? But I know men find it more difficult to express themselves. I
Yeah.
love you both. You guys are so amazing. You are changing the world for the better, and I'm blessed to be in your company.
Thank you.
So
it's, go ahead, Charmaine.
now go. You clearly
No, go
have a
ahead.
question.
No, go ahead.
Mr. Mint,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
else do I need to know about you?
Oh,
I know you're building schools and things. Is there any
mhm.
way our community or people out there could support or guide or help?
Yes. Well, and let me speak to that. So yes, um, I during COVID, the school was in and out of having to shut down.
Sure.
So that this is the first full year they've been able to put in and get kids through and graduated. So I have some video some videos and some images that I'm going to be putting on LinkedIn. We've created a brand new 501c3 that's called Mount Everest Region Educational Cooperative. I
Hmm.
know it's a long word, but we're going to use the initials. So, and very quickly, people will be able to go to my LinkedIn page and find probably in more like 45 days where they can start donating towards children's education.
Oh,
Believe it or
fabulous.
not, $400 pays for an entire year for a child's education in Nepal, which is crazy. That's just crazy. So our goal this year, they graduated for the first time more girls than boys. And if you know anything about Nepal and India and those areas of the world, you know that that's an amazing feat in itself. But this next new year, they're going to be the school year ends just in mid March. It starts again in late summer because you know they're out during the rating season. So going into the next year, he has approximately about 500 children that are going to be starting school. 200 of those are in need of scholarships. So our goal will be between now and then, and people who hear, I will be very loud about it in the next 30 to 45 days. They will have an opportunity to go to our 501c3 and make a donation, be completely tax deductible, where they can sponsor a child's education and change a life forever. In Nepal, you once you get a high school education, how much money you can make doubles. This coming year, we've added a 2-year associate's degree to his school, which would be the 11th and 12th grades, but it's really like what we would call here an associate's degree. That will then double their ability to make money again, which again, in that area of the world, you know, you double and then double your income, it's life changing, you know. And then
Sure.
the thing I'm so much more passionate about is going up into the mountains in the region where I told you, you know, it's so heavily sex trafficked, and let's starting a satellite school there, which will be difficult because there will be people that don't want that to happen. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So in August, I will be taking a group of people with me. That information will go out in about 30 days if they want to be a part of that trip, part of that trek up into the mountains. It'll be just the trip itself will be life changing, but seeing the faces of Nepali children is very much life changing as well. So
Oh, it sounds amazing. If I didn't have a trip that I already mentioned to Ed, I would have actually joined you. But the
we'll
next
be
one,
doing them, you know, a couple times a year. So going forward.
yeah.
So
Well, Mike, we thank you so much. I absolutely loved the stories, and I felt a
thank you.
connection to you. A lot of parallels in our lives. So, what last message would you like to land with anyone that might tune into this podcast?
You know, I want to speak to the people who are where I was when I was at 40. You know, we get to a place in our lives and we believe that we're so broken that nothing can change, that there's no hope for me to get better, to be successful. And I love to tell people that absolutely nothing could be further from the truth. You're one choice, you're absolutely one choice away, one change away from absolutely transforming your life. Um, if people want to go to my LinkedIn, it's just Michal Mints. It's just straight up Michal Mints. And let me point them in the right direction. If they want me to give them some people and or places they can go, if they're looking for someone to be coached, I'm happy to do that as well. But don't let where you are keep you where you are, because that's
Mm.
what happens. We let where we are keep us where we are because we believe there's no hope for us. And I will tell you that for lack of anything else, we are all gifted with a purpose. All of us. Okay. All of us are gifted with a purpose. And the greatest day of our life is when we discover what that purpose is. And then the rest of our life, we get to live fulfilling that purpose. And that's success. For me, that's success. Finding what my purpose was, finally, understanding that it's changing people's lives forever through the power of teaching them a process where they can be successful in life. And just I'll say one other thing. I get a lot of pushback when I make these statements, but I make them anyway. Terms like happiness, motivation, enthusiasm, excitement, energy, all of these things are choices. They're all choices. We all have the ability to wake up every day and decide, today I'm going to be motivated. Today I'm going to be happy. Today I'm going to be excited. Today I'm going to be enthusiastic. Today I'm going to have more energy than I've ever had in my entire life, because they're just choices that we get to make.
And there's so much power.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
carry on.
There's I loved it. I call it, coffee table talk. I love, where everybody butts in and everybody talks at the same time, because that's where you learn and grow, right? I love to talk about we're one decision away. I have people come to me and say, do you just wake up this happy and enthusiastic every day? And I go, absolutely. Of course not. What the heck's wrong with you? No, but I do wake up and I do decide every day to be this enthusiastic, to be this passionate, to be this crazy energetic. Look, who I really am is a recovering alcoholic. And I don't say that, I don't say that to be funny. I mean, I every day push this asshole all the way down to my toes. And I choose to be energetic, and I choose to be happy and passionate and motivated. That's not at the core of who I am. Unfortunately, I hate that about myself, but it's true. I have to keep that guy all the way down in my toes all the time. But here's what I found so amazing. It's easier for me to choose to be happy and motivated and excited than it is to live the life of an asshole. That's a hard life. And I've gotten it's become so much fun to choose and wake up to choose every day to live this life instead. My brother is a recovering alcoholic. And every day he wakes up and chooses to continue to be a recovering alcoholic. I wake up every day and choose to be a recovering alcoholic. And I love that about myself.
And I love lots of things about you, actually. It's been phenomenal. It's been incredible. I mean, you brought tears to us. You brought laughs to us. You brought your energy. Well, I didn't realize you were 65. You're a damn good looking 65.
Thank you.
I have to say. And your share has been phenomenal. So grateful. Thank you.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
I think this has been incredible. And you
And
guys,
this has
I
been
see
one of my favorite. Oh, I will be reaching out to you.
Sure.
I want to talk. This has been
Are you
one of my
guys going to
favorites.
leave me out of this again?
This
No.
particular one, yeah, you will be left out of this one.
I just want to say thank you, lots of love, and I have no doubt you'll be changing a few more lives through this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and your energy and your wisdom. I love you to the moon and back. You too, Ed. Love and light, everyone. And
everyone have a
thank
great
you.
one. Thank
Bye,
you for
guys.
joining. Be blessed no matter where you are. Take care.
Bye-bye.